Well, good morning everybody and welcome to another Sunday morning show. Just take a quick look at this. And in fact, instead of just showing it you through this camera, let's flick the drone up and just give you a bit of an insight into where I am today.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again?
Look who's joined me, look. You like a bad smell? That's exactly what I was going to say. You can't help yourself but just get in the van. Whenever I'm going anywhere, you get in the van.
Yeah.
Well, Bernie, when was the last time you played Perranporth?
I think it was when we filmed here with your brother and Gilly, which would have been what?
Wilbur.
Wilbur, was it?
Yeah, Wilbur and Gilly.
It must have been a couple of years ago.
That was a very, very busy video, as in, like, we got a lot of views from that video.
Yeah.
A lot of views.
I remember Jordan was filming and he was in front of us and filming backwards, and it looked spectacular, didn't it?
Well, it made the golf course look so different, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've been approached by, well, as you have as well, but been approached by a number of members here, even the chairman, who started watching our vlogs and started watching the channels, pretty much following our visit down here.
Yeah.
Because seeing Perranporth is a very blind golf course. So what I mean by that is a lot of your tee shots, you're hitting over kind of dunes to the fairways. And when we got Jordan ahead and filmed it back, you just saw Perranporth in such a different light, didn't you?
Yeah.
I tell you what, we had some fun down here. Do you remember the county match that we played?
It was my county debut. Was down
was
there.
it?
Yeah. And I was partnering you in the foursomes.
Which
and
we narrowly lost, didn't we?
in that direction.
Yeah.
There's a beach bar which is literally on the beach, isn't it? It's on the sand dunes.
Yeah.
And I think we spent a bit too long in there, really.
Well, it was your initiation, wasn't it, really?
We didn't do that.
Only two in
took
there.
it seriously,
Yeah,
didn't they?
everyone was in bed at 10:30. Anyway, we're going to go out today and we're going to film. I'm going to get some B-roll for this, but we're going to do a little match. What are we playing? So this is for Bernie's channel.
We're playing a penny a yard.
Yeah.
So every hole's worth however many yards it is, that many pennies, and then we
Right.
add up the pennies at the end and see who's won.
And
So you want to win the longer holes, basically.
Yeah, there's a strategy to this.
Yeah.
You've played. This is not your first rodeo, is it? No.
I like this game.
You like this one. So back to the nice cold weather back in the UK, but I mean it is lovely. I mean, I'm just delighted to actually be out playing a bit of golf, to be honest. And actually tomorrow, Bernie and I are going to be doing a break par series, so the first of 2024.
Tough day. Tough day on the
Already, I've not even been out here half an hour. So what's going to be going on in today's video? Well, I talk a lot about the pros, don't I? I always talk about the pros. I try and support the pros as much as I possibly can, tell you a little bit about the life of a pro and how that kind of works. Well, on the other side of the fence, should we say, you've got the general managers of golf courses. I've been a general manager at Torquay Golf Club for 3.5 years. Had some very much up and down situations when I was there, which were what all general managers have to go through when you take over a members golf club. Well, today I want to catch up with Nathan Gilpin. Nathan Gilpin's been on our channel a few times. He was the general manager or golf manager at Old Fold Manor, and in November he took over as the general manager here, or secretary, at Perranporth Golf Club. So this is kind of like his first big post, should we say. And I thought today we'd catch up with him at some point during the round and see what he has to go through on a day-to-day basis. What does a general manager actually do?
What's your official title?
What are you?
General
are you
manager.
GM?
Are you general? Generally doesn't do a lot.
Generally strolls around the golf course. So what do you actually do, Nathan?
Basically, within a golf club, the general manager, everything is my responsibility. So whether that's health and safety, whether that's competitions, memberships, catering, whatever, that is entirely my responsibility. And then obviously it's my role to manage the team to do obviously the bits that I need them to do for me. We're a little bit unique here in that our pro shop is in-house, so i.e. the club run the pro shop, so I get heavily involved with all the ordering as well. One of the things that I've been looking at since I started is our health and safety, HR, compliance, all the accounts, that all sits with me. So I'm going through a full sort of health and safety audit, risk assessments, everything like that. It's the boring stuff, but actually it's the kind of thing that we have to have in place because at the end of the day, the buck stops with me.
So one thing that jumped out to me there is, you mentioned, is the pro shop is in-house here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that more and more up and down the country. What's the main reason that the pro shop came in-house kind of here?
Because it's obviously a good revenue source for the club. It means that we have greater control of what is being sold. I think from my point of view as well, given my experience at previous clubs in the past, it removes that retainer-based model. So like with that, where you have retainer-based models with pros, you don't have as much control of what is going on in that retail operation. And I know obviously from your experience, you've always worked as a retainer-based pro. I much prefer the idea that it's all in-house. We'll employ the pros to work for us when they're in the shop, and then obviously they can go off and have their own hours when they're teaching. So Richard, our head pro, he will work for me when he's in the shop, but then obviously go and work as a self-employed pro when he's going and teaching.
And with your experience as actually going through the PGA training yourself and actually becoming a PGA professional yourself,
Exactly.
Do you think that that experience has helped you when it comes to the pro shop, or are you sort of relying very much on Richard to help you, kind of guide you a little bit through that? Or do you
No, we work very much together. We are able to work together on kind of a bit of a plan and a strategy for the club. So before I started, the pro shop wasn't making much in terms of money. It was probably actually making a bit of a loss. We've revamped it. We're looking at a bit of a brand strategy in terms of what brands we're actually going to put in there. Not putting two brands that are competing against each other. Obviously you've seen it earlier, we did a bit of a refit, so we've made it look really modern, and there's still a little bit of that to go, but it's actually a really good working relationship with Richard. And I mean, Richard, for those that don't know him, is a fantastic golfer, and obviously one of the most highly regarded sort of in the area for coaching as well. So I want to utilise my asset, and I describe him as my asset, where he's at best use, which is actually with members, playing, teaching, whatever it is, rather than say sat in a pro shop selling products.
Oh, this is the highest point of the course.
Windiest.
Windiest, isn't it?
Windiest. Crikey. 348 yards, par 4, stroke 17.
I have got the shot tracer between my legs.
I know.
I kind of know the...
Hang on a minute, I've got to get
What are we doing?
This is an Instagram moment if ever I've seen one. The battles of shot tracer, Bernie on camera, and the howling gale that we've decided to play in today. Break par. You know, I always used to think when it came to marketing golf clubs, and you hear this word or this saying of the hidden gem in Cornwall, and I would put that Perranporth is certainly kind of one of those, would fall into that bracket as a hidden gem. I mean, look at that. Isn't that just absolutely spectacular? The sun today is just, it's amazing down here. But you know what? Some golf courses in history, they're hidden gems because they didn't need to market themselves. They didn't want to market themselves. They were kind of, you know, a small members links course down here in Cornwall. Their focus was very much the local community, and they'd have some national or county events down here every now and then. But to be honest with you, they didn't want to market themselves. They weren't focused too much, let's say, on the business element of bringing people down to the area, bringing people down here to come and play their golf course. That was just like an add-on, like a little bit of the icing on the cake, should we say, a little bit of extra funding for the clubs. But actually, with the fact that price has gone up on everything. When it comes to running a golf course, you know, the cost that is now involved in not just wages for the staff and all of that side of it, but actually running the golf course cost is just huge. So therefore, these golf clubs have to learn how to market themselves, learn how to get themselves on the map a little bit more, and showcase these amazing views that they have down here, because this is what's going to attract people to come and play it. So they've got to learn how to market themselves in a better way, and Perranporth very much focusing on that with what Nathan is bringing to the table. They've kind of gone for a young, enthusiastic general manager like Nathan, who can look at a product like this. You know, he needs to learn how to get his opinion across, and you know, he won't struggle with that because he's very good at being able to share his thoughts. But they need to listen to the younger element, because ultimately, if they can focus on bringing the younger people down here, they're going to spend the money. They're going to come down here and pay the green fee and use this facility for their families when they're down here as well. So yeah, a hidden gem used to be, in my view, someone who was like poorly marketed, but actually, you know, some places just didn't need it. They didn't want it. But actually now, they got to focus on it. And I think that's what very much Nathan will be positively working on now that he's got down here.
Our revenue streams, you're looking at maybe less than 50% actually coming from members.
Right.
So 50% of my overall budget is from external revenue.
Right.
So for me, the awareness and the brand campaigns that we need to build, and that's what we're going to be working on over the next 2 or 3 years, are huge. Like, we're working with a specialist marketing agency about how we are actually going to get the name out there, one in the UK, but actually as we go international as well. I mean, the golf course, when we've had American groups, we've had Scandinavian groups, they absolutely love it, but they've never heard of it unless someone else has been here before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the real negative aspect of what's happened in the past, say, here.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at the golf courses where they've done that really well, like up in Scotland, the golf courses, their models are very much membership revenue covers basic costs, and everything else is that external revenue. That's how it's going to grow. We're not going to bring in 1,000 members. There's not 1,000 members to bring in from the local area. Okay, so what can we do about that? Well, that's when we need to diversify our revenue streams. That's when we need to reach out to these different markets and represent that product. Because when you get people here, they go, oh my god, how good is it? Like, how beautiful is it?
And then you've actually also got accommodation on site, haven't you? Which is rare. Like, not all golf clubs have that, do they? I know a lot of the Cornish links courses, sort of like Trevose, and they have a few bits on site, don't they, to be able to accommodate people?
Trevo's obviously got a little bit of a different model to what we've got. They've got very much hotels, but they've also got the self-catering bungalows and flats. Yeah. Whereas everything here is more sort of self-catered lodges, sort of higher end static caravans, which is nice for sort of your family groups, but also your golfing groups as well. So like, we stayed there last night and it was perfectly fine.
Absolutely spot on.
And obviously that's a market area that we're able to exploit. So you get those groups coming down, having 2 or 3 days, 3 or 4 rounds of golf, and having a great little sort of trip away. And it's actually something that we're looking to develop and grow more into the future. Particularly, I'm quite interested in getting something a little bit more bricks and mortar. So whether we can have a little bit of a lodge style accommodation. So I don't know if you've seen it down at Prince's.
Yeah, I have. I've stayed there.
Yes, it's a fantastic facility, and that then opens up that 1 night, 2 rounds B&B kind of offer. That if we offer that here, we'll be sort of lapped up. It's like, it's the perfect place for it in the winter. Yeah, like between October and March, it pretty much never closes. The only reason it would close is basically because of fog. Yeah, it's free draining golf course.
So. And talking about the golf course, what have you got any plans? Because I mean, we've just been out and played it the last couple of days we've been here. I mean, it's fantastic this time of year, as you quite rightly said. It's great. We went off the back tees, but which is brutal, and I don't suggest anybody go off the back tees unless
why not?
Unless the wind is down and the course
or the wind
running,
is the other way.
The wind is the other way. But yeah, have you got any major plans with the place?
No. So I mean, one of the big things about the golf course is it's totally natural. Like, we're trying to keep it as natural as possible. We don't use many chemicals. We want to expose the natural element of the links. So the whole golf course is designed around the dunes rather than sort of us going and manipulating that. So we don't really want to make those changes. So the big things for us going forward will be just refinement. So lots of tee leveling work, pathway work, tidying up elements of the golf course, make that presentation go to the next level, because they're the little things that if we want to go and start charging higher green fee rates, and we want to start competing more with some of the big other links courses around the country, they're the kind of things that people are going to be looking at.
Fantastic to catch up with Nathan down at Perranporth, and I'm actually really excited to see where Perranporth kind of goes over the next sort of few years, because I think it's got potential to be something pretty special down there, and if all the plans that Nathan's got in place actually come through, then it could be an amazing place to go and visit at some point. But I'd like to hear down in the comments, have you actually been down and played the hidden gem that is Perranporth? Now, I talked about when I got set up with this new station of podcasting area that I've got this reveal camera above me, and I thought that I would just share with you today the wedge that I've only put it in the bag just once. I've had one game of golf with it, and I just thought I'd share it with you. And it is actually the Cleveland RTX Tour Rack full face number 2 wedge. And you can see from this particular setup here how the grooves really work up right the way into that top left-hand corner. And the reason why I wanted to have this wedge set up is because I'm somebody that plays a lot of my bunker shots kind of across the face. You know, I cross the ball as I come through my shots. A lot more players kind of tried to play it more straight face now. I'm still one of those that likes to open myself up, open the club face up and get the club to release underneath. And what I was noticing is on the outside of my wedges, is certainly my lob wedge, which is the bunker club for me, I was getting a lot of wear and tear over on the kind of area where there are no grooves. So I thought that I would test out this new full-faced, well, I say new, it's new to me because I've never actually used a full-face wedge. Do I love the look of it? Not really. I think it's quite a bulbous kind of look on top there. But one thing that I did love about this wedge straight away is how spinny it is. I was over in Portugal and did some testing with Foremost, and we were doing a video with the Cleveland RTX range. And the spin that I was getting from these wedges were phenomenal. So there's obviously something going on within the zip core area there. They feel really rough when you run your thumb across these wedges. So maybe again, that's something to do with it. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I have actually gone through the experience of being a general manager. I was secretary manager at Torquay Golf Club for 3.5 years. Now, was it plain sailing? Absolutely not. It was one of the hardest roles that I've had to deal with ever in my career within the game of golf. And the reason for it is because I was one of the youngest secretary managers of a golf club in the UK at that particular time. And the elderly members at that club didn't deal with it particularly well. They didn't like to see, let's say, a younger, enthusiastic person at the helm of their golf club. But the only positive that I took from it is it made me pretty thick-skinned with some of the stuff that I had to deal with. And I do hope that Nathan has all the opportunities that he needs to push that club to the next level. But I hope you've enjoyed that video, and I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into what a general manager actually does at a golf club. I wish Nathan all the best, and I'm sure you do too. And I hope that you put Perranporth on your list. Now, next week on the channel, we've got the Break Pass series from Perranporth. Myself and Bernie get out onto the golf course and try and break par around that tough links golf course. So make sure you check that one out. And don't forget, if you are new to the channel and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Around 35% of you are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, please double check, because it really does help when it comes to the algorithm of YouTube. Thanks for watching.